Good morning, everyone, especially to Messencio. I am Nenya Faye de los Reyes from BE Ed 1A. And for task 3, I am going to present the most effective strategy for teaching values to today's elementary pupils, which is the moral action role play, or also called the MARP strategy. So today, our challenge is clear. Today's children learn by doing and experiencing, not just by listening to unlock their best self. We must move beyond simply telling them what is right and help them discover what is it to be right. The core goal of values education, or ESP, is to develop moral reasoning. As our lesson highlights, we must use the cognitive development approach to guide pupils past the simple fear of punishment. We need a method that bridges the gap between knowing a rule and living a value. The MARP strategy uses two essential tools found in our common methods, which is the moral dilemmas and role play. And for me, the MARP strategy works in three distinct steps over a week. So as a future elementary educator, we must apply these three steps, which is the first is the introduce the dilemma. So the teacher is going to present a short or a fictional story with a clear conflict, a moral dilemma. So for example, the teacher will be given the pupils a example dilemma. Here is the example. Lito find a 100 bill on the floor near the principal office. He needs the money to buy a new school supply, but he knows that someone else lose it. What should Lito do? So that is the example dilemma. And next is the role play practice. So you will be letting your student to role play that example, or that given a specific example. So the class breaks into small groups and students are assigned roles. So you're going to assign each student to each rules. For example, this one student is going to be act as elito. This one, you're going to assign that kids as the friend of Lito that is giving advice. This one as a teacher, this one as a principal, and etc. They must act out two possible endings. So take note, they must act two possible endings, which is the ethical choice and the unethical choice. This uses the role play method to provide a safe, experiential space to practice the value of honesty. And after they present that role play, you will gonna be um, the next step that you will gonna be do is the debate and discussion. So this is where the magic of moral development happens. The teacher uses the question to lead a discussion. So the teacher is going to ask a question that is related to the given scenario or to the given example to you, or to the teacher, to be able to connect the example or the scenario to a real discussion. Okay? So, the MARP strategy is highly effective for today's generation. Why? Because first, it is experiential learning. Student feels the moral tension, which internalize the lesson better than a lecture. So you let your student experience the lesson. So you let your student role play that kind of scenario or that kind of lesson. Okay? And next, it builds moral reasoning instead of just obeying you as a teacher. So you are being student centered because you are letting your student You're letting your student to think, a reason to think carefully. Student articulate why honesty is better than self-interest, pushing them toward making moral decisions based on a greater social good. And also, it is integrated. It uses stories, visuals, also the group works through the role playing and discussion all in one cohesive activity. And lastly, in conclusion, by using the moral action role play strategy, we are equipping our pupils not just with roles, but with the skills to navigate life's ethical challenges and become disciplined, responsible Filipino citizens. So that is why the MARP strategy for me is the very effective strategy for teaching values to today's elementary pupils. And that's all. Thank you.